Following our ICA Lunch and Learn session about the legendary clarinetist Stanley Drucker, I want to take advantage of this format to add some footnotes to amplify some of the points we discussed. One of the attributes of Stanley's playing was his articulation. It was often mentioned during our discussion. I want you to hear the end of the first movement of Bartók's Contrasts, the clarinet cadenza. This recording dates from 1954, when Stanley was 25 years old. The recording engineer was Peter Bartók, the composer's son. It was recorded with a single overhead mic and done in one take. Robert Mann was the violinist, and the pianist was Leonid Hambro, and this appears on disc 6 of the Heritage Collection. Stanley's endurance and willingness to play everything was often mentioned during our discussion. An example of this is Nielsen's Clarinet Concerto. Stanley not only played as soloist during all of the subscription concerts and the rehearsals, but after intermission returned to his seat in the orchestra in order to play the First Symphony by John Sibelius. The symphony opens with a magnificent clarinet solo, which Leonard Bernstein wanted Stanley to play. Stanley quipped that he had the intermission after playing the Nielsen in order to regroup before playing the Sibelius. In our panel discussion, we played the opening of Woody Allen's movie Manhattan, which featured Stanley doing the clarinet introduction to Rhapsody in Blue. Here's another version of Stanley playing the opening of Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue. This is from a live 1976 performance with Leonard Bernstein and the New York Philharmonic. All my fellow panelists participated in the extensive liner notes that accompany each volume of the Heritage Collection. Mitch Estrin contributed the opening introduction to series 1 through 5, called Live in Concert. Ed Jaffe did the interviews that comprised the program notes for From the Vault 6 and 7, and Mindy Dragovich and Frank Cohn also contributed tributes for Coda discs 10 through 14. The program notes with the pictures are an added bonus to all of the performances that Stanley represents in the series. Frank Cohn mentioned how much he admired Stanley's role as a father figure to his children and how important that was. And certainly the apple, didn't fall far from the tree. Leon, named after Leon Rushinoff, started as a cellist and gained prominence as being the bassist, Lee Rocker, in the rockabilly group Stray Cats. Naomi often mentioned to me that her main concern was that, this group was started, in their Massapequa garage. It was literally a garage band. And her concern was that the neighbors should call her first before they called the police. Roseanne, who's sort of an Americanish acoustic country singer and composer, wrote a piece that was called, Down Here at the Docks, which is the 78th and last piece on the Heritage Collection. And this features their affinity for being near the water, their Massapequa home and their boat. And both Naomi and Stanley are on the recording, and you can hear them right towards the end of the track. Stanley also wanted the Heritage Collection to be meaningful for those who added it to their library. Therefore, he autographed Live in Concert, discs 1 through 5, as well as autographing the tray cards for discs 6 and 7 and 8 and 9. So you hear not only the artistry of Stanley Drucker, but are able to own a piece of clarinet history. Compact discs offer the highest audio quality in order to hear Stanley's artistry. Another feature of these sets are the extensive liner notes that accompany each of the volumes in the Heritage Collection. To show some of these photos, which span more than 60 years of Stanley's career, we've put together a montage to the music of probably the most famous clarinet concerto of all time, the Mozart Clarinet Concerto. This is Stanley's only recorded version of it, which appears on disc 13 in Coda, the final set of the Heritage Collection. This is Stanley's only recording of the Mozart Clarinet Concerto, recorded live in concert with the Park Avenue Chamber Symphony, conducted by its music director, David Bernard. This Mozart Concerto was from a 2014 performance with Stanley at age 85. It so happens that earlier we heard Stanley when he was 25 years old playing the Bartok contrasts. The Heritage Collection covers a career of over 60 years.